more favored. That means A and B don't want to react, right? They don't have much tendency to do that, and that is why we get very less C's and D's, because we will get C's and D's only if A and B react. That means very less number of A and B react to give C and D. So it's not a favored reaction. So backward reaction is more favored. Backward reaction is more favored. So a big arrow pointing backwards. And there are two burbs, as you can see. Burb 1, burb 2. Actually these are called burbs. Okay. When we draw an arrow, these are called burbs. These are called burbs. So here we use two arrows with single burbs. Why? One burb, one burb. Okay. Not that important. Okay. Above experiment, it seems as if the reaction doesn't like to go rightwards. Yes, as I have said. And if we write this one A plus B and this symbol, it means when there are many C and D's as compared to A's and B's in system. That means when forward reaction is favored. You people might have understood what or when to use this symbol. It's opposite to the case where we use this symbol. This was all about these three signs. Okay, I have something more to show. So let's see what more I have written to explain. Okay, I have something more to tell you, and the thing is meaning of strong and weak. What does strong and weak mean? Yeah, that's interesting. NaOH dissociate to give Na plus NaOH minus. Now we say that NaOH is a strong alkali. It means if there are 10,000 molecules of NaOH in a system, let's say that, or let's assume that almost all molecules have dissociated into Na plus and OH minus. That means almost all molecules. Out of 10,000, you can say almost all molecules have broken themselves into Na plus and OH minus. So you can visualize it in this way, that the system is fully filled with Na plus and OH minus ions swimming in the solution or swimming in water. You're right. Remember, nothing is 100% efficient, as I have already said. It's just a theoretical assumption. So how to support or verify this, that it's only a theoretical assumption and not theoretically possible? Yes, let's say the thing is that we say, when we write theory, we say that NaOH dissociate completely. That means all NaOH molecules dissociate. We say that for the sake of simplicity and understanding. But reality says that there are very few NaOH molecules which are left undissociated. Or there are very few NaOH molecules, say 2 out of 10,000, which remains undissociated or do not break into Na plus and OH minus, or do not split itself up into Na plus and OH minus. Here, although we say that all NaOH molecules dissociate, the thing is that the number of undissociated NaOH molecules are very, very less in comparison to the number of dissociated molecules of NaOH. And that's the reason why we say so. Another thing is very important here. Contrast makes things visible and observable. Exactly. If there is contrast, the things will differ more and it will be easily visible. But the difference in number or quantity can lower the contrast. How? Let me tell you, explain this to you through this example. In a crowd of white balls, one blue ball is very much difficult to notice. Exactly so. Fine. Let us look at this graphic representation. Above case is like, above case means this case is like this. This bar, this fluorescent yellow bar represents number of dissociated NaOH molecules, and this tiny or minuscule orange bar represents undissociated molecules of NaOH. Although there is contrast, the massive number A suppose suppressed B or overshadowed B. So it doesn't let B to express itself. Same the case we come across or encounter in genetics when we read biology. So this tall tower just overshadow this one. How? For example, many people have visited this place to see what is present here. So this tower will attract the people more than this tower. Some people might overlook this tower, right? Because they are constantly staring at this huge, massive, dominating tower. For example, if I say that in a road, a person met with an accident and he had to undergo For example, a bike rider had fallen and he was badly wounded. It was a major accident. So all the peoples are running to help that guy. Now if I say that a small child while walking on the road fell down and cut his knees at the same time when the major accident took place, will majority of the people go to the child, or will they go to the bike rider? Of course to the bike rider, because it's a dominating event. It has already attracted maximum people and the guy needs immediate help. And many people might have overlooked or skipped what had happened to the child, because that's a minor incident in front of the major incident of the bike accident. So this is how I have explained this to you. And thus I can say, although the child has fallen, I can say that since I haven't seen that child falling, no child has fallen then. So that's an assumption. But in reality, the child had fallen. Did you understand? It's an assumption, and we can make use of the assumption because there is a dominating component, and that is the bike accident. Okay, so there is something more, I guess, and the last page. I'm in the last page now. Okay, so let's assume that 1 mole is equal to 10. 1 mole is equal to Avogadro number. I know that, fine, but we can assume, right, that 1 mole is equal to 10. Now if I say A plus B gives us C plus D, 1, and if I say that initial number of moles is 1, 1, 0, 0. At equilibrium, I pluck out x from 1. So what is left is 1 minus x, 1 minus x, and what is formed this side is x and x. Let's say x equal to 2. So you people can easily visualize using this chart. Initially there were 10A and 10B, but no C or D. But later at equilibrium, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 A's and 8 B's, because x equal to 2 is already plucked from 10. Here 1 means what? 1 mole, and 1 mole means 10. That's an assumption. So 10 minus 2 gives us 8. So these are 8 molecules left, and these are 2 molecules formed from 2A and 2B. So this was all about chemical equation and the real or the actual meaning of it, which many people overlook or fail to understand while dealing with chemical equations. Thing is that we all are familiarized with writing chemical equations, but we fail to understand its significance. So this was my attempt to make you people understand what's actually takes place in a system, what's the environment is inside a system. So I hope you people will like this video, and my next video under the heading courses that concepts that confuse is gonna come soon. It's gonna be based on quantum fields, and that will be the last video under #1 field. After that I'm gonna start with atoms and Schrodinger's equation. Okay guys, so keep learning, keep visualizing. Bye bye.